So I know it's a little weird that I have eyebrows and eyeshadow and mascara on, but we're just gonna roll with it. Long story short, it's not even a long story. I just had makeup on for this, and why take it all off when it looked good, you know? Anyways, today we are here testing out brand new Fenty Beauty products. I have a concealer, I have a powder, and I even have the Diamond Bomb, what is this called? How Many Carats highlighter that we're gonna try out today. So don't forget to check out my social medias, but you know what, let's just go ahead and get right on into it. So as I said earlier, I already have eyeshadow, mascara, and eyebrows on, and it's just because I had makeup on earlier today, and it's just easier to just keep it all, some of it on, because I don't wanna take all of it off, then take it all off and have to all redo it, and it's gonna take, you know, a longer time to do that. So I need to prime my face, so I'm gonna do that really fast off camera, and then I'm gonna use all the Fenty Beauty products that I currently have, just, you know, keep this Fenty Beauty theme going. We love our Rihanna. Why does that sound so weird? Because it sounds like our Rihanna, like Ariana Grande. We love our Rihanna, and I'll see you guys in just a sec. Okay, so I'm gonna use my Fenty foundation, which, girl, it's been a minute, because I never wear foundation anymore. I only wear like BB cream or tinted moisturizer, or sometimes just concealer. Sorry, I was spacing out there. I have the shade 140, and I did get the complimentary concealer to this shade. I got 140. So let's just put this on. Honestly, it's been a minute since I've used this, so hopefully it treats me well. Okay, so I did a really light layer, which is just what I prefer. It's like very light coverage, but if you haven't tried this foundation before and you like light to medium, you can really work it whatever way you want. If you want really light coverage, you can have really light coverage. If you want medium coverage, you can have medium coverage. You can even build this up to full coverage if that is what you need. Now, I don't want any of that because I just prefer light coverage for my freckles. It makes them look a lot better if I didn't cake a bunch of foundation on, and I like a little bit of my skin to show through. I'm gonna zoom you guys in, and we are going to get to the concealer and the powder. Okay, we are a little bit closer. So as I was saying, I got the shade 140. So there's 50 concealer shades and there's 40 foundation shades. I think they even put out more foundation shades recently. I could be wrong, but so I got the shade 140. And I hope that they made it a little bit lighter than the foundation. You would think they would, but I don't know. It has this cute little compact here. I was a little concerned it was a little too pinky for me. I have a very interesting skin tone where, like, I'm not cool toned. I'm like peachy warm, like peachy with a little bit of yellow, but I'm super fair, so obviously if there's too much yellow, it makes me look like a psychopath. But anyways, also if there's too much pink or beige undertones, it turns out really gray on my skin tone. So we'll see how this goes. I'm first going to start by putting the concealer down. I'm actually not even sure if it's supposed to be a full coverage concealer, but from what I've seen, I think it is supposed to be like full coverage. So I'm gonna go in lightly and then go in more. So on the package here, it says instant photo soft coverage for all, long wear, light as air, crease proof. Nothing's crease proof. Let's be 100% honest. Nothing is crease proof. It has a really like bendy wand. I don't know if you guys can like tell. I really like when concealers have that really bendy thing. The First Aid Beauty, which you guys know is my fave concealer right now. The First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer has a really bendy wand. The ColourPop has a really bendy wand. I love the bendy wands. But I'm just gonna go in with just a little bit to start, and we'll see. I usually like getting a concealer that has a little bit of peachy undertones to cover up my purple under eyes, but that's okay. Oh, I should have mentioned that I didn't get any of the tools because 1, your girl's balling on a budget, and 2, I just always use sponges. And when it comes to powder, I have powder brushes that I already love. Okay, so definitely that concealer is lighter than the foundation. It definitely highlighted my skin. I don't know if you can tell, but I can. And I look really highlighted, but not in a bad way. Sometimes I think over highlighting makes it look really fake. I mean, I do look almost white under there. So I'm not sure if I'm vibing with this too much. That could be a shade problem. I don't think it's particularly like the formula, but let's see if I bring a little bit more down if it doesn't look as bad. I love how my opinion just like swapped or switched. It just like swapped instantly because I originally thought it wasn't too bright, but now I'm worried it's a little too bright. Because it's just not me, like, I don't know. I'm gonna cover some blemishes, which I hope this is not too light for, but you know what? This video is all about testing things, isn't it? And then I always put a little bit of concealer on my nose because one, foundation doesn't stick very good to my nose, and two, my nose is always red. What can you do? So the first thing I will say is this stuff is definitely very potent, like a lot of concentration of pigment in a little bit of product. So you definitely don't need a lot. Like a little goes a long way. This guy's really rude. He's like not even paying rent and he's just creating like a mountain on my cheek. So preferred if you left. Freaking pimple. Concealer is on. You guys like my throwback 2001 butterfly clip? I do my best. So now for the powder. I have the shade Butter, which is the second lightest. Y'all know, am I from Texas? No, I'm not. But they had a brighter shade called Lavender, and I think that would have made my under eyes look so gray because I just think it wouldn't go great with my skin tone. I know Jeffree Star used that one, and like for him, obviously like it's a great shade because he's very cool toned, but I think if you're neutral or warm, that would not work out for you. I could be wrong, but it wouldn't. I got the shade Butter, which is the second lightest. It comes in this gorgeous compact, that like metallic that Fenty Beauty uses, that's like almost a rose gold, but kind of still silvery. It's very interesting. And then the sifter is an F and a B, like Fenty Beauty. Cute. So I tested the powder in store a little bit, just on the back of my hand, and it was so smooth and buttery. And I'm like not crazy picky with my powders. The only thing I want them to do is not make my eyes look crepey or creasy because I have very dry skin. I'm just gonna push them out onto the cap here. The other thing is this foundation is a matte foundation. I have really dry skin, so I just make sure to use a really hydrating primer beneath it, but also I don't have to set my full face when I'm using this, so I'm not gonna use this on my full face, but I will show you how we use it on targeted areas. So far, I will say this concealer has not creased a bunch. I'm just gonna pat it out a little bit though. It creases less than the First Aid Beauty one, and even though they're my favorite, it's not because they're creaseless, because they're not. It's just because of the way they look on my skin. Let's go ahead and brush this underneath my under eyes. Okay, that looks so smooth. Super smooth. Okay, now I'm going to take powder over top any of my blemishes that I covered with concealer. Okay, that just... Are y'all seeing that? Can you see? Okay, I'm probably gonna have to... That looks... It's just like stark white right there over that pimple. I'm gonna have to like makeup remove that and cover it with foundation again. Just my luck. So the concealer is definitely too bright to cover blemishes for me. So I'm just taking foundation, and I think I'm just going to use the foundation to cover it up. It's almost, the powder's almost still a little bit too brightening. So anyways, as I was saying, I'm just taking the powder and covering up wherever I put extra concealer, and I also always set my nose because my nose is the only part of my face that gets a little shiny throughout the day. But at this point, I just take a little bit of powder on my brush, sweep it along my jawline, because obviously I do a lot of like this during the day, which is not good for your skin. Don't learn from me, but I don't know how to change it, okay? It's a habit. And then I test the cheekbones to see if they might need a little bit of powder. I already put some over here, but I think just a little bit so that powders on top blend easily. So my first thoughts from both of these products is that this powder is very brightening. I don't know if, I know she said that they're like translucent, and I would agree to that to a certain extent, but I do feel like there is some color beneath it because it really lightened that. Even after I just used foundation, which is a perfect shade for me, it still kind of lightened the blemish, but not a ton. Oh, they're definitely lighter than your foundation shade. So if you know your foundation shade, if you want a brightening under eye shade, then get the same exact shade as your foundation. If you want something that's a little closer to your skin tone, you might want to go up. You know. So what I'm gonna do next is just apply the rest of my makeup, and then I will come back with you guys to share final thoughts, and then I will also show you the results at the end of the day if you are curious, and I will let you know if I think it's worth the moolah, the coin. I will be back with you guys later. Okay, so I have the rest of my face makeup on. I will just give you an idea if you're curious. What I have on my eyes is the ColourPop Dream Street palette, in case you're wondering. And for highlight, I used a mixture of these Fenty Beauty Kilowatt highlighters, Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal and Mean Money and Hustler Baby. Use those to mix what I have on my cheeks. And for blush, I used one of my all-time favorite blushes ever, and this is the Fenty Beauty Matchstick in the shade Chili Mango. Don't let it scare you. It looks amazing on the skin. I know it's bright orange, but don't let it scare you. But I also do have this, which I'm so excited about. The reason I bought this was because of my friend Anna. She is here on YouTube. If you've been a subscriber of mine for a long time, we've done collabs before, and I will link her channel down below if you're curious. But she loved this, and it's really scary to me because I heard it's just like all glitter, but I had put a little bit on my lid to make the like light blue shade pop, and I want to add a little bit to my inner corner here. Ooh, yes, to really give it a diamond plop, and also maybe a little bit to my brow bone. Ooh, glitz. And I'm gonna top the makeup look off with a little bit more of that on my lid. And I think I want to try putting just a tiny bit of it on my cheekbones. I'm scared because I don't want to look like a shimmer ball. Did I even do anything? Oh, it's really pretty. But it makes you look like you're glistening. It has like zero pigment beneath it, just these tiny, tiny fine micas of glitter. Anyways, looks great. Love it. Now I'm gonna set my face. Okay, and to top everything off, because we are just trying to look super glowy clearly today, I'm going to take the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in the shade Diamond Milk. I probably would wear my normal shade, which is like the first shade that they came out with. I can't remember the shade name, I don't know why. But I left it at work, and it's Sunday, so I'm not going back in there to get it till tomorrow. So I already have a little bit of it on, but I'm just gonna throw a bunch more on, girl. I know this is a review, but I thought I'd show you all the other Fenty products that I'm using. Okay, so my final thoughts until the end of the day. I wish I would have had a concealer shade that was a little bit darker because I do feel like it was a little bit too brightening for me. That being said, with all my makeup done, I think it actually looks really good, but it's more of like a high glam look to me. I mean, everyone's different, but the look that it's giving me is a little bit more of a high glam look, and sometimes, not sometimes, literally almost all the time, I prefer something a little bit more neutral, a little bit more natural. But that being said, it does look really good. As far as creasing, I mean, I've only had it on for what, 10 minutes? And little creasing, so maybe there is something to their claim of crease proof. We will find out towards the end of the day. The powder looks really good on my skin, feels really good on my skin. I'll have to let you know how I feel after a few hours because I do have really dry skin. As far as this thing goes, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it is a problem. After I put more foundation and powder on it, I feel like nothing else was sticking to it. Like my bronzer was skipping right over it, my blush was skipping right over it. So I think I'm gonna have to maybe apply a different concealer on top and try and put some powder on top of it to make it not be this giant red mountain on my cheek. But we're girls and we have to deal with it all, you know? We just stick it out. We're really strong. Anyways, it is now 3:30 and I know that's a little late. Usually I like to have like 8 hours to do a review, but I'm going to try and keep the makeup on until, because it is 3:29. So I'm gonna try and keep my makeup on until 10:30. So that'll give us 7 hours, maybe 11. If I get to 11, I'll let you guys know. Probably more like 10 or 10:30, and we'll at least check out the creasing situation, the powder situation, and everything, and I will see you guys then. Okay guys, it is currently 10:46. So I kept it on for a little bit more than 7 hours, and I have a few things to say. I have a few things I forgot to tell you, so I'm going to get into that right now. First of all, the price of the powder is $32, which I feel like is a pretty average price for most powders, maybe a couple bucks cheaper. Price of the concealer is $26, which is about $2 cheaper or same price as other high-end concealers. I think in the earlier in the video I might have said $22, so if I did, I'm sorry, not true. Also, in the packaging for the powder, if you open it up, you see a compartment down there. Well, they included a stopper. I personally don't like stoppers. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I can't figure out how to work them very well. But yes, they did include a little stopper. I will hang on to it just in case I end up loving this powder after many uses and I want to travel with it. I had that problem with that pimple right here, and I ended up putting like concentrated bronzer over it, which is the only way I could figure out how to make it not so bright. I'm so confused what happened there, but I actually, like really weirdly, well, it's really weird coincidence maybe, I don't know. But I just finished Jeffree Star's review and he had some similar weird discoloration with his as well. So maybe that's a problem. Like, I found it really weird because the concealer really brightened my under eyes, but the powder didn't particularly brighten my under eyes, but it did brighten this, which I thought was really weird. So maybe the powder isn't fully translucent like it says it is. I just don't know. My final thoughts after wearing them all day, I don't feel very dry, but I do feel like the concealer is more drying. It's kind of on the level of Shape Tape, maybe a little bit more drying than Shape Tape. If you go in with hydrating products beforehand though, I don't think you're gonna have an issue. Personally, I just prefer a little bit more hydrating concealer products because I do have dry skin and the last thing I want is for my under eyes to look dry. The powder looks really good on my under eyes. I don't feel like it looks crepey or creasy, but I don't think it was my favorite powder. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm going to continue to use it the next week or so to get a really good feel for it. The concealer, I think I would like it a lot more if I would have gotten maybe a darker shade because I think the brightening is a little too much for me. But I think what I will definitely end up doing with this concealer is putting a little bit just right on those purple spots in my under eyes to really brighten them up. And then maybe in the future, if I really like the concealer, I might go out and buy a different shade. All in all, I think what I'm realizing is that I'm not obsessed with these products. I don't think they're bad at all. I just don't know if they're what I want or need. So maybe if you have more oily skin, you might really like these. Maybe if you have more normal skin type, you might really like these. I think if you have really dry skin, I don't think you're gonna like these. Like, I have really dry skin and I don't hate them. I just don't see loving them ever. Again, I'm going to keep trying them, but I do find it kind of weird that there was discoloration and that I couldn't get it to change. Like, it really brightened that area even though I fixed it and only put foundation down. And then all of a sudden the foundation was my skin tone and then I put powder over it and then all of a sudden it was super brightening. And if you watch Jeffree Star's video, you'll see he had like weird discoloration, but not until after he put the powder on. So maybe he was having something weird like that. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. As for now, I'm just kind of on the fence about them. One thing I will say, it barely creased. So I will give it a pat on the back for that because it is very hard to find a concealer that doesn't crease. I have a lot of fine lines in here. My whole life growing up, I squinted because I'm so fair and I have blue eyes, so I was just always walking around like this, like played outdoor sports like soccer, so I was just always like this. You know, it's really bad for you, but when you're a kid, you just don't know better. The other concealers that I've used that are the least creasy are the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. That concealer like never creases on me. But I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Have a great morning, noon, evening, day, night, whenever it happens to be that you're watching this video, and I will see you in my next one, even though I just said that. Bye.